Hi, this is Omar at Top 5 E-Bikes, and this video is a little bit different than most of our videos because this is a video on the recall of the Rad Power Bikes Radwagon 4. Before we jump into this video, I want to give you a little bit of a channel update. There's a few things that we're working on. Number one, we're working on a few different reviews. So Damien's working on the Electric XP Lite review. That should be out shortly. It's a really fun bike that we've been riding. Also, we've been riding the Derwent Pioneer, which is a fat tire e-bike. And the last one is a Rad Power Bikes Rad City 5 Plus. So we have a few reviews that are coming. In addition to the reviews, we're also working on videos for different accessories. So you might be able to see it there in the background. That's a Hollywood rack that we just acquired through the electricbikecompany.com. So we bought it through EBC. They sell the rack. So does Rad Power Bikes and some other companies. So you can buy it direct from them, or you can buy it from different e-bike manufacturers. But we just got that rack. We're getting a hitch on my minivan. So that's what I'm gonna use to transport bikes like the Radwagon once I'm able to ride it, and other bikes like fat tire e-bikes. But we do have this rack. Damien also has a Thule rack. So we're gonna do a video on these different types of bike racks. So stay tuned for this content that's upcoming. And this is a part of the video where I ask you to subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and if you've subscribed, please like this video because it does help us with the YouTube algorithm. All right, so let's get into this recall video. The reason why I wanted to make this video is I actually received a second email from Rad Power Bikes reminding me about this recall. I also looked online, didn't see many videos about this, so I figured I would do my own video about my own experience going through the recall. And what I'd like to do in this video is I'm going to talk about why this recall is happening. So that's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to talk about the recall. Why is it happening? What parts are affected of the Radwagon, and which Radwagons is the other piece. And then I want to talk about what your options are, whether you're a prospective cargo e-bike buyer or you're an existing Radwagon 4 owner who's affected. And then the final piece is I'm going to walk you through the process of actually filling out the forms, or what you have to do with Rad Power Bikes, and then what we know right now as to what they're going to do to fix this or remedy these issues that we have with the Radwagon 4. All right, let's talk about the actual recall. First, like I said, I'm going to talk about what is getting recalled and why. As you can see, this is a Radwagon 4, the white color, and Rad Power Bikes did do a pretty good job, not initially, I don't think, but then once you actually read the emails carefully, and we'll add some screenshots here of the different emails that we've received from Rad Power Bikes. But there's two different items that are being recalled. The main one for me, at least the one that I could see, was the tire, and that was easy. It actually took me a couple months to check out whether this bike was part of the recall or not. Because it's been a couple months since Rad actually sent out these emails. I am lucky because I have a second cargo bike, which you see over here, which is the Flyer. I actually enjoy this e-bike, and I think it's one of the best ones. If you have kids, it's a really fun bike. We have a full review on it. So I've been riding the Flyer, and so I kind of stopped. As soon as they said to stop riding it, I stopped riding the Radwagon. Now, I finally took a look at the tires, and that's really the thing that I was focusing on, whether they were ribbed or not. And there's some images that Rad provides that'll guide you as to whether your bike is part of this recall or not. I should mention this is a Radwagon 4. So if you have an older version of the Radwagon, this recall does not pertain to your model. But there's also the rim strip. So there's a strip that goes over the rim. That I obviously have not looked at because I haven't taken off the tires, since I already know that this is part of the recall just based on the tires. So Rad did send out emails to say to stop riding it. I have ridden it a couple times without my children. You actually see that there's no bike seats on this, child seats. I took out the caboose. I've been riding it a little bit, not too much. I've definitely read about people that have been continuing to ride their bike and they've been careful. I've read cases where people like me that have ridden it here and there, and then I've read about most people, I think, that are following the recall, which is they're not riding their e-bikes. So Rad Power Bikes does recommend that you do not ride your bike if you're part of this recall, obviously because there's some danger based on the tires, and then also the tube that could lead to deflating tires or tires that are popping. That's obviously a big deal, especially if you have cargo, if you have children especially. So I recommend that, especially if you're riding with children in the back, you should not be riding the Rad Power Bikes Radwagon 4 if you're part of this recall. Now let's talk about what your options are. And I'm going to start off with, if you're someone who's a prospective cargo e-bike buyer and you're looking for an affordable cargo e-bike, so around $2,000. And this is for people that are looking for a new bike, so not a used one. There's obviously a very robust used market for cargo bikes, cargo e-bikes, and that includes some of these recalled bikes. I've seen these for sale on the Facebook Rad Power Bikes resale group. So these are going to be for resale. By the way, if you're looking for a used one, just make sure that if it's a recalled one, just know that you're going to have to deal with the replacement or the fix here. But if you're looking for a new e-bike, really you have two options. One is that you wait it out. Right now you can't actually buy this bike new from Rad Power Bikes. So if you go on the website, you can actually purchase it. So that's not an option for you. If you want this bike and you're confident that Rad Power Bikes is going to do a good job with the remanufacturing of these tires and fixing that led to this recall, then you can actually buy this. You're going to have to wait it out. So that's one option, is that you wait it out until Rad Power Bikes actually start selling this bike. We don't know when that's going to happen. Now, if you search online, there's people on message boards saying that it might be in March and April. So that's something that you'll have to risk, not knowing when they're going to sell these bikes. Your other option, which is probably the better option right now, is that you buy a different bike. So there's really good cargo affordable e-bikes on the market right now. I happen to have one of them back here, which is the Flyer L885. I actually have a comparison with the Radwagon and the Flyer that I did. And I think depending on your situation, you might want this bike anyways. But if you were looking for the Radwagon, you were set on the Radwagon, and now you're like, I don't want to wait it out, the Flyer is definitely a really good option. Another really good option, which we haven't ridden, and I wish I had this bike, is a Blix Packa Genie. So that's a really good option in the market. It actually has some really good upgrades relative to the Radwagon. Like, it has hydraulic brakes. You can add a second battery. You can get a dual battery with it. We just passed Black Friday. They had a really good Black Friday sale on the Blix Packa, but regardless, I think it's a good option. And then if you wanted to go with a mid-drive, so if you wanted to scrap the Radwagon option and a rear hub option, and you wanted to go with something like a mid-drive that's still affordable, you could go with something like the Yuba Kombi E5, which is around $3,300 with the mid-drive, or you can go with the Uniro cargo bike, which has a mid-drive, which is another affordable option. So those are really your only options. It's either you wait it out or you buy another option, if you're looking for a new bike. Now, what if you're in my situation, which is you own the Radwagon 4 and it's part of the recall? So what are your options here, and what do you have to do? I'll tell you what my path is going to be. My path is, I really like this bike. I think it's a solid bike. Obviously, there was a miscalculation that Rad did, which is they decided to manufacture their own tires, and that kind of blew up in their face. And now they're having issues with trying to find these tires. There are definitely posts out there of people using other types of tires. I would go with the one that the manufacturer is recommending, which is their own tire, and they just happen to not have it. So again, this was a big mistake on Rad Power Bikes in that they manufactured their own tire, and because of that, now they don't seem to have a supply of these tires that were defective. So, but that being said, I'm keeping this bike, and I want to make sure that, if I ever get rid of this bike, I'm going to make sure that it's post this recall fix. So really, if you're going to keep this bike, your only option is to go through Rad Power Bikes and try to get the bike fixed. Now, we'll walk through it here in this last part of this video. I'll walk you through the forms that you have to fill out. But in essence, what's going to happen is Rad Power Bikes is going to get your information, and they're either going to arrange for you to go to a Rad Power Bikes store if you're close to one, or they're going to arrange for a mobile e-bike service to come to your house and replace the tires and or the rim strip. So the key here is that Rad would then send either a kit to the store, the Rad store, or this mobile mechanic would get the kit sent with tires and the rim strips. So that's kind of the key right now, because it seems to be they don't have them in supply, at least for the 30,000 e-bikes that need to be fixed. But that's in essence what's going to happen. Now, if you don't live close to a store, or there isn't service for a mobile mechanic, which I think is going to be my case because I live in the Santa Barbara area of California, there's definitely not a store close by. It's 4 hours away, I think, driving. And I've tried to get some of these mobile services to come here. They're not going to work. I think what's going to happen with me, and what might happen with most of you, is that Rad's going to send you this kit, and then you'll have to go to a bike shop or an e-bike shop and get them to replace these for you. So that's the logistics of it. They're going to somehow send this kit. Someone's going to place it or replace it for you, whether it's Rad Power Bikes, a mechanic, or you're going to have to find a mechanic, and then they'll reimburse you for the cost of the mechanic. So that's one of the options, and that's what I'm going to do. So hopefully that doesn't take too long. We're right now in early December. There's reports out there that this isn't going to happen until March or April, so we'll see. We'll see how long it takes. And we'll do an update here and kind of walk you through what my experience has been like. Now, another option, and I've seen this online in message boards, is I've seen posts about people saying, I'm getting rid of it. So I'm going to sell it, I'm going to cut my losses, and I'm buying another bike. And that goes back to the first part of this, where if you were going to buy a new bike, what are your options? Well, if you don't want to wait through this recall, if you don't trust what just happened and the fact that Rad Power Bikes created, or they had these defective tires made and the rim stripped, if you're done with Rad Power Bikes, then really your only option is to sell this bike. Either take a loss and sell it after you get it fixed, or some people are selling them as is. So I've definitely seen these on the Facebook board. So if you're part of this recall, your options are you sell your recalled bike, which hasn't been fixed, probably at a loss. You either keep it until it gets fixed and then sell it, or you do what I'm going to do, which I'm going to wait it out and see this recall fix and how long. Hopefully it doesn't take too long, but I'm still confident about this bike. It's just obviously you lose a little bit of trust in the company, in the sense that, you know, how well did they QA this? How well did they test this? It was a big deal that they had these tire sizes, and it was a big concern for people early on. I mean, I mentioned this in an earlier video that it was a concern of mine that these tires were going to be hard to get. Well, I wasn't thinking that they were going to be defective tires, and that makes it even worse, because now who's going to manufacture these? But yeah, so I'm going to stick it out. We'll see how long this takes, and I'm going to walk you through my journey, probably through another video. Once I get this done in a few months, then I'll inform you as to what happened here. All right, in the last part of this video, for those of you that stuck around, if you're one of the people that are involved in this recall and you actually want to get your bike fixed, let me walk you through the process. So I received a couple emails from Rad Power Bikes. I ignored the first one because I have another cargo bike, so I didn't really need to, it's not like I needed to get it fixed, or I just kind of ignored it and stopped writing it, more or less. Once I got a reminder, then I started looking into it. I followed the instructions in the email. I confirmed that my bike, in fact, is part of the recall. And then I went through the steps that Rad Power Bikes details, and then now I'm going to walk you through those. So this is a website that Rad Power Bikes has that'll list more information on this recall. So here you see more details about the recall, the description. It'll list, for example, which models, and here you see the different pictures of the models. And now you have pictures of the actual issues, which are the tire and then also the rim strip. And at the bottom of this page, you'll also find the form that you would have to fill out in order to be part of this recall. So here you see the form. You see that they asked for the email that was used when you ordered it. It'll ask for a serial number, and then there's a description as to where you can find the serial number. I actually took a picture of the serial number because it was easier to read. And then you fill out your personal information, and then you send the request. Now, once you send the request, what will happen is you'll get an email to the email that was listed and that's associated with the order. And so you'll get a confirmation from Rad Power Bikes that they've received your request. And then at that point, you would just have to wait for Rad Power Bikes. Well, thank you for watching. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. If you're a prospective cargo e-bike owner, or if you own a Rad Power Bikes Radwagon 4 and you're part of this recall, let me know what you're doing. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you think about this video. Whatever you're going through with this recall, I'm going through it too. So I'm just trying to figure out, what the best solution is for me. I'm lucky in that I have another cargo e-bike, so I'm not in a situation where I'm going to stop riding with my kids. It's also wintertime, so I'm in Southern California. It's starting to rain right now. I guess it's not as bad as someone like e-bike escape, Ryan at e-bike escape, where it's snowing in Wisconsin, but this is the time of year where we kind of take it easy riding wise anyways, but I also have another cargo bike. But thank you for watching. Subscribe to Top 5 E-Bikes and like this video.